It is August 4th, 2023, and the Chicago White Sox are 90-72 and secured the number one AL wildcard spot, beating out the Rays and the Orioles. The Twins, who were above us for a long time, finished at 82-80. They'll miss the playoffs. The Guardians win the AL Central at 92-70. For a minute, I thought the White Sox had a shot, but we were so good after the deadline. 18-9 in September, not immediately after, 13-14 in August, but being 31-23, maybe 31-24 if I count this loss in October, that is a very good stretch for us to finish the season. It's been a season of up and downs. You see 20-9 after a 9-18 start in April. Every month has been uneven. That doesn't bode well for this month of October, but we'll see. How did we get here? Zach Wheeler didn't really pitch great for us, but he was better than he was in Philadelphia, I guess. Maybe the same. I'm excited to have him for next year. Hopefully he does better than that. Dylan Cease finished the season on fire. 5 R-WAR in total. If we look at his splits, he towards the end of the season in September, 2.13 ERA, 1.3 WAR. The FIP was great. He was a great pitcher. I mean, just dominating towards the end. He had a couple 4 earned run starts here, but very good end of the season for him. Same with Lucas Giolito. He had a complete game shutout here against Kansas City. Really good starts down the stretch, allowing 2 or 3 runs to start. ERA dropped from the mid-4s to 3.71, 4.1 R-WAR. We did end up having that contract be accepted for him. 3 more years, 12-4, 12-4, 3 years, 32.8 for Lucas Giolito, so he'll be here for a little while longer. These are the 3 starters for the wild card series. I didn't want Lance Lynn to start. The Griffall had him starting in the 3rd slot, but he was terrible this year. Negative 0.7 R-WAR, really bad down the stretch. He'll be off the team after the season. Trevor Williams did better in a White Sox uniform than he did with the Nationals, and I'm very happy for that. He was a great acquisition, especially to get off that Joe Kelly contract. Giovanni Moran might have been even better. Well, he definitely was even better. 1.2 R-WAR in only 22 innings, 1.23 ERA. I think up until this 3-run 1/3 inning that he had at San Diego, the last game of the year, he did not allow a run in a White Sox uniform. I'll have to double check that. He was completely scoreless up until that last game, which is a shame, but he was magnificent. Only 8 saves because we did get Liam Hendricks back, I believe. I don't know where he went. Where'd he go? Is he not on the playoff roster? I'll have to look through that. Hendricks. I'll have to put him on the playoff roster, but he was good too. 0.5 WAR in 14 innings, came back from the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Ricardo Sanchez ended the season worse ERA-wise, but not FIP. I don't know why it's doing minor league stats still. Mark Leiter Jr. was also on fire in the pen. I mean, I think the bullpen acquisitions we made in combination with losing those guys that we did that were negatives really impacted the season. 1.68 ERA plus for Mark Leiter Jr. in 21 innings. Jose Ruiz finished the season strong, 1.2 R-WAR, 3.19 ERA. He was going 2 innings at a time, not allowing a run. He's been on fire down the stretch. Clevenger didn't finish the season all that well, 4.76 ERA. We're on the hook for $12 million if we pick up this team option. I'm not going to do that. Here's Sanchez again. Sewald was good for us, 3.04 ERA in 23.2 innings. 23 2/3, excuse me. Good pickup for us with him. Tanner Banks was cold down the stretch, as was Aaron Bummer. But these additions of Williams, Wheeler, Leiter, and Moran powered the bullpen and the pitching staff to a much better finish than they initially had looked to have. On the offensive side of things, Oscar Colas will not win Rookie of the Year, but he had a great rookie year. Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Volpe both had, I think, upwards of 6 WAR. Anthony Volpe had 33 homers and hit for a 300 average. I'll show you the Yankees in a minute. They're ridiculous. And what Aaron Judge did. But Colas had 42 bombs, 97 RBI, 137 OPS plus, 21 doubles. Striking out at a bit of a higher rate than I'd like, but great season overall. If he improves in the field in right or in left, he would be an even more valuable player, like a 5 to 6 WAR guy. Luis Robert had some nagging injuries this year, missed about 42 games, but he finishes with 3.6 WAR, 121 WRC plus, and a 1.3 zone rating in center field. Isn't the Gold Glover that he got in 2020, but a good player for us nonetheless. Andrew Vaughn, 39 home runs, almost 240 bomb guys for the White Sox this season, 130 OPS plus, 3.1 WAR. I'm going to look into extending him. I think, no, it wasn't him, it was somebody else, but he doesn't really want an extension as much as a few of the younger guys do. Yohan Moncada kept that steady bat going, steady glove at third base. But next season, I'm going to think about moving him to a corner outfield spot with that 60 range, 65 arm. He's under contract next year for $24 million. Yasmani Grandal finished the season even better, 91 WRC plus, 2.3 WAR. I talked about how he heated up before the trade deadline, 175 OPS plus in July. August and September, he was just an average bat, but that's all you need from your catcher. And with a 3.1 framing metric, he's a good player for us. Seth Brown finished the season even better with the White Sox than he did with Oakland, in a platoon role with Oakland, but in a almost full-time role for us. He registers a 132 OPS plus, 133 WRC plus, 1.1 WAR, 493 slug, 7 homers in about 2/3 of the plate appearances. So good pickup was Seth Brown for Victor Reyes, who actually was decent for Oakland in the little bit of playing time he got, and I think that would constitute one of the best full season or half season offensive outputs he's ever had in Major League Baseball. Adam Frazier, I guess I'll go Yoki Cespedes first. 1 WAR as a pinch hitter. You see that he played in 40 more games than he started. He'd come in as the right-handed replacement for Seth Brown or Benintendi when we had him. He was a good player. He'll be a good bench bat for the future. 2 options left. I don't see us moving away from him in the near future. Adam Frazier was better than he was in Baltimore. He's a bad defender, though, at second base, and that's what I'm worried about in the playoffs. His WAR was definitely impacted by that. 98 OPS plus, but a negative defender at second base. He'll need to patch that up, but it was a good acquisition, and I was not upset about losing Andrus. If we look at him, really bad for the Phillies in 51 games, 47 WRC plus, but he was still a positive WAR player because he's just so good at second base. He might win the Gold Glove this year. But I wanted that offensive production in the lineup, and I was rewarded for betting on that. Eloy Jimenez was terrible to end the year, 100 WRC plus, 0.6 WAR. Did hit 27 homers, but if we look at his August and September, he was, just a terrible hitter. And if he didn't have this month of July, he would probably have been a negative player overall for us this season. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to try and trade this contract in the offseason. It's just not worth it to have a DH on the team that's not going to hit. Jose Rodriguez came up and was fine. I'm not, he's 22. He'll have his opportunities, but wasn't that good in his first audition in the bigs, and in AAA he was a negative player. Sebi Zavala, like I said, only got 137 plate appearances, and with how Grandal performed, I wasn't worried about getting a good backup catcher, and he's also got the prankster personality class, which is good for the clubhouse. Yolbert Sanchez came up at the roster expansion. He only had 15 plate appearances, but he was good in AAA. And now, with an injury to Tim Anderson for the playoffs, Yolbert Sanchez will be our starting shortstop in the postseason, which I'm not too excited about. I don't know. Not good for us. Mike Moustakas, in 25 plate appearances, only 5 games started in the 2 months that he's been on the team, 72 OPS plus. He was actually good in the few plate appearances he was getting in August, but then in September he just stunk. And I might leave him off the postseason roster. I don't know yet. So that was the Major League Club. We finish 18 games difference from the win to the loss column. And I think I'll talk a little bit about the minor league system now. In AAA, there wasn't too much to write home about. Brandon Williamson did have a good year there, though. Cole Seamus has continued his rise, but in AAA, he was bad in 5 games started. Andrew Abbott came up for a bit with us towards the end of the year, 3 innings, didn't allow a run. He'll be up next year as a lefty starter. Garrett Crochet, he just hasn't been performing in the bigs, and I sent him down because he has options. I don't know if we'll bring him back. Maui Ahuna is all the way up to AA. Didn't hit well in 63 plate appearances, but hit well in high A and low A. The computer even wants him in AAA right now, but that's a little too fast for me. Terrell Tatum, 1.9 WAR in 77 games in Birmingham. He might see playing time in the bigs, or at least be on the 40-man at 24. And as a lefty guy who can play at center field, we don't have many of those players that are long-term options. Lloyd El Chappelle, same with him, but he did not hit well in the minors this season, so I'm a bit worried about his development. Wilfred Veras is up in AA now as well. Didn't hit as well as I'd like. Wes Kath was also bad as he moved up the system. And I did just get a notification that Colson Montgomery, won Eastern League Player of the Week and Player of the Month, I think, in Reading for the Phillies. Christian Mania wasn't good. Peyton Paletta called up to AA, was fine. And Harry Ford was good, though, in high A. So we have a good prospect pool moving up through the minors as we hope not to just get through the season in the playoffs, but to build this team for the future. This is what the system looks like, ranked 17th right now with Ahuna, Veras, and Winokur rounding out the top 100. Harry Ford fell out, but I think he'll be back there soon. And that was the season for the White Sox. I'll go into a bit of what happened around baseball. The Yankees finished first in the AL East, won 103 games, and Aaron Judge won the Triple Crown with 60 homers, 137 RBI, led the league in on-base and slugging too. 195 OPS plus and 9.7 WAR in 630 plate appearances. And so we look at him, and he's going to win the MVP this year. Ohtani had a good year, but again, he'll get beat out by Judge. He wasn't as good as a pitcher this season. So we'll see what the voting shakes out as, but you can't decline a Triple Crown winner. And that'll be the question whether or not Jacob deGrom, as the pitching Triple Crown winner in the American League, pitching 249 innings for the Rangers, 20 wins, 2.6 ERA, 8.8 WAR. An incredible year for deGrom, 9.6 R-WAR, almost equal to Judge's 9.7 F-WAR as a hitter. And so this MVP race is going to be hot. deGrom has a chance to challenge Judge as a Triple Crown winner. In the NL side of things, Elly De La Cruz, with a 40-homer rookie year, is going to challenge for the MVP. WAR leader as well. Goldschmidt cooled off, but he still led the league in WRC Plus for the NL. So I'm very excited to see who wins the MVP in the American and the National League. Kyle Schwarber hit 48 home runs to lead the NL, but wasn't hitting for average. And Justin Verlander led the NL in ERA with a 2.31 number. Only lost 4 games, 7 R-WAR, and he might be the first guy to win 3 American League Cy Youngs and a National League Cy Young. Just a really fun year, I think, all around this season. The Dodgers had 104 wins. I wanted to show you Anthony Volpe .310 average, 33 homers in his rookie year. Him and Gunnar Henderson will beat out Oscar Colas. I think this is one of the strongest rookie classes I've ever seen. If we look at the statistics and all, if I go to American League rookies, I think Cassis was also there, but Volpe 6.7, Henderson 6 WAR, Cassis 5.1, and Estuary Ruiz for the A's, who finished 500, stole 60 bags for the Athletics this year. And in the National League, and Kyle Manzardo hit 124 RBI, and I think he almost led the league. He was second to Judge. So just a really, really fun season for rookies. And then in the National League, it wasn't all that different either. Matt McLain and Ellie De La Cruz, Reds rookie superstars, both hit over 300. And McLain was actually the better hitter by OPS than De La Cruz, but De La Cruz's value at third base made him worth more. But you look at all this red and all these Reds. Jordan Walker was the leader in OPS pluses at Cardinal. Really, really good crop of rookies in Major League Baseball is in good hands. Pitching side of things, not as much, but Tanner Bybee did lead all rookies in ERA with 3.69, and for a good portion of the year, he was, that's not what I want to do. He was leading the AL in ERA. Dylan Cease makes it in the top 8 in ERA in Major League Baseball. Michael King saves 60 games. DeGrom wins 20. Webb loses 17. Corbin Burns, 4 complete games for the Brewers ace, although it looks like none of those were shutouts. So they were just keeping him in there to pitch 9 innings. But, I mean, he threw 242 and a third innings. I don't know what Out of the Park is thinking about all these pitchers throwing over 200 innings, but, yeah. Aaron Bummer, in his 4.11 ERA, leads the league in holds for the White Sox. Look at Judge. I mean, almost everything but on base percentage he led, and he did lead the American League in on base percentage. If I look at American League metrics, it's almost all Yankees. An incredible year for Aaron Judge, arguably better than last year, even though he didn't beat the home run record in the American League again. The entire totality of this accomplishment is amazing, and it's a shame he started as late as he did in the majors, because already 280 home runs in only 6 full seasons. Incredible from Judge. But we have the Rays to face off against in the Wild Card Series, led by Wander Franco, Yandy Diaz, and Kyle Manzardo, along with Brandon Lau, who had a great year. This was a better offense towards the top than I think we would suspect. Paredes hit 29 bombs, but the pitching was weirdly bad for the Rays. 3 guys in the mid-4s in ERA. The bullpen is good, but I think we have a room to take advantage of the Rays' pitching staff, with Glasnow, McClanahan, and Rasmussen being worse than anybody could have suspected. 88-game winner are the Rays. 91 games they were expected to win in the Pythagorean. They are definitely a better team than us. We were only supposed to win 83 games, so we outperformed our Pythagorean by 7. And if you look at the expanded standings, we are the second worst team that made the playoffs, behind the Phillies, who were 82 and 80 in their expected record. So it'll be an uphill battle for us. The Rays are 6-1 against us in 7 tries this season. They have a better offense and a better defense than us in every regard. And if we look at our season numbers versus Tampa Bay, it's not really all that good. We have Benintendi, who's no longer on the team. We have Sheets and Jimenez. These are the only 2 guys still on the team besides Colas that have a plus OPS for us. And really, Jimenez and Colas, as Sheets is in AAA, are the only 2 players that we will have on this team. Maybe Vaughn steps up, but with a 192 average against Tampa so far, I'm not very confident, and the pitching staff got shelled. A lot of these matchups came earlier in the year. As you can see, we don't have the players that we have now Reynaldo Lopez, Kopech, and Graveman and Diekman and Kelly are no longer on the team. So it'll be a different team, but still a team that hasn't had success against Tampa, facing off against them in the wildcard series. So I will return after the results of this series.